close your eyes. And for a moment, everything is still. No pain, no sound, just silence. The kind of silence you haven't heard since before you were born. Complete, total, like the universe itself is holding its breath. Your heart has stopped. The doctors call it. Time of death, 9:47 p.m. But here's the thing they don't tell you. Your brain, it's still awake. Not just awake. It's more active now than it has been in years, maybe decades. Your brain is doing something extraordinary, and no one in the room has any idea. Right now, in the first 30 seconds after your heart stops beating, your brain is panicking. It knows something is terribly, fundamentally wrong. Oxygen levels are crashing, dropping from normal to critical in seconds. Blood pressure is gone, and your neurons, billions of them, are firing in ways they haven't fired since you were born. Massive, synchronized cascades of electrical activity rippling through your cortex like a storm. And this isn't random noise. This is organized, structured. Your brain is doing this on purpose. Scientists at the University of Michigan were the first to record it. They placed EEG sensors on the brains of dying patients whose families had agreed to comfort care, whose hearts were about to stop. And the researchers sat in the room watching the monitors, expecting silence, expecting a slow fade to nothing. What they got was the opposite, a massive surge of gamma waves. Not a flicker, not a blip, a full-scale explosion of high-frequency neural activity, the kind of brain waves linked to consciousness, memory, and heightened awareness. The same ones that spike when you're solving a complex problem or in the deepest state of meditation a monk can reach, or having the most vivid dream of your life, but stronger, much stronger than anything they'd ever measured in a living, healthy brain. Dr. Jimmo Borjigin, the neuroscientist who led the study, described it as the brain's final push, as if the dying brain, in its last moments, was doing everything it could to understand what was happening to it, to process, to feel, to be conscious one last time. And here's what makes this even more remarkable. The surge was happening in specific regions, not scattered randomly. It was concentrated in the junction between the temporal, parietal, and occipital lobes, a region scientists call the TPO zone. This is the exact area responsible for out-of-body experiences, for the sensation of floating above yourself, for tunnel vision, for seeing a light. Your brain knows it's dying, and it's building you an experience. You feel it now, a strange warmth spreading through your chest, then your arms, then your face. Your muscles relax, every single one. The tension you've been carrying since you were 12 years old. The clenched jaw, the tight shoulders, the grip in your gut. Gone. All of it. In seconds. This is your body flooding itself with endorphins. Nature's most powerful painkiller. Stronger than morphine. Stronger than fentanyl. It's the same chemical that hits you after a 10-mile run, or when you hold someone you love for the first time. The same rush that floods your system when you laugh so hard you can't breathe. But now, your body is releasing all of it. Every last molecule, every last drop, all at once. The full reserve. Everything it's been saving for an emergency that never came. You don't feel like you're dying. You feel safe. And then, something else happens. Something researchers are still struggling to explain. Something that sits at the exact boundary between neuroscience and philosophy. Your brain starts producing a compound called DMT, dimethyltryptamine. It's one of the most powerful psychedelic molecules in nature. Your pineal gland, a tiny structure deep in the center of your brain, no bigger than a grain of rice, has been producing trace amounts of it your entire life. Some researchers believe it's responsible for dreams. Others think it plays a role in mystical experiences, meditation, and states of extreme fear. But now, right now, your brain is flooding with it. The concentrations are unlike anything measured in a living person, and the effect is unlike anything you've ever experienced while alive. Colors you've never seen before, not brighter versions of colors you know, entirely new ones, colors that don't have names, that shouldn't exist, sounds that aren't sounds, more like frequencies you can feel vibrating in your chest, in your teeth, in the space behind your eyes. Space stretches and compresses. The hospital room expands to the size of a cathedral, then shrinks to a single point of light. Time stops meaning anything. A second feels like an hour. An hour feels like a heartbeat. This is where it gets strange. Because suddenly, you're not in a hospital bed anymore. You're not anywhere you recognize. The ceiling is gone. The walls are gone. The fluorescent lights and beeping monitors and the smell of antiseptic. All gone. You're somewhere else entirely. And you're watching yourself. Not from above. Not from outside. From inside every moment you've ever lived. You see your 5th birthday. The kitchen table, the paper plates with cartoon dinosaurs. You feel the heat from the candles. 5 of them tilted slightly in pink frosting. You smell the cake. Not like a memory. Not like remembering what cake smells like. Like you're there, fully and completely and physically there. Every detail sharper than reality. Every color more vivid than anything you saw while alive. Your mother is laughing. You can hear the exact frequency of her laugh. You'd forgotten it. You'd forgotten it. But your hippocampus didn't forget. It kept everything. Then it shifts. You're 16, standing on a sidewalk outside a house you haven't thought about in 30 years. First heartbreak. You remember saying something wrong. You remember the look. The sting is real. It hits your chest like it did the first time, but then it fades, and something you never noticed before appears. The way they looked at you before it all fell apart. A tenderness you missed the first time. A sadness in their eyes that wasn't anger. It was fear. Fear of losing you. You missed it then. You see it now. This is what neuroscientists call a life review. And it's not random, so your hippocampus, the memory center of your brain, shaped like a seahorse, buried deep in your temporal lobe, is firing on overdrive. Gamma waves are linking regions of your brain that normally don't communicate. The visual cortex is talking to the emotional center. The emotional center is talking to the language areas. The language areas are talking to the deep memory banks you haven't accessed since childhood. And the result is this: your entire life, re-experienced, not as a highlight reel, not as a slideshow, as a feeling, a single, unified, overwhelming feeling that contains every moment you've ever lived. The moments you were kind, the moments you weren't, the people who stayed, the ones you let go, the time you said something cruel to someone who didn't deserve it and never apologized. The time a stranger held the door for you on the worst day of your life, and you almost cried because of how small and beautiful the gesture was. And right here, in this flood of memory, something remarkable is happening. Because many people who've come back from this, cardiac arrest survivors, people who were clinically dead for minutes before being revived, they all report the same thing. They don't review achievements. They don't see trophies or diplomas or promotions or bank balances. They don't relive the moments they thought mattered most. They see faces. They feel connections. The time they held their child for the first time and felt a love so intense it scared them. The time they forgave someone who'd hurt them and felt their chest physically crack open. The time someone forgave them and they understood, really understood, that they were allowed to be imperfect. Dr. Sam Parnia, one of the world's leading researchers on near-death experiences, interviewed over 2,000 cardiac arrest survivors across 15 hospitals and 9 countries. His study, called AWARE, is the largest scientific investigation into consciousness during death ever conducted, and the patterns are almost unnervingly consistent. 96% of survivors who had conscious experiences described a sense of peace. 82% saw some form of light. 69% experienced a life review. And many, far more than expected, could accurately describe events that happened in the room while they were clinically dead. Details they shouldn't have known. Conversations between doctors. The color of a nurse's shoes. The specific time on the clock. Minutes have passed since your heart stopped. Maybe 3, maybe 5. No one knows exactly how long this lasts because no two brains are the same. Some are larger, some are younger, some have more oxygen reserves stored in their tissue. But the activity is still there. The gamma waves haven't stopped. Some researchers believe this window lasts up to 7 minutes. 7 minutes of full, organized brain activity after the heart has stopped. 7 minutes where, from the inside, it might feel like hours, or days, or a lifetime. 7 minutes. Your final window, and your brain is using every nanosecond. Here's what's haunting. In 2024, a team of scientists from the University of Michigan, Charité Medical University in Berlin, NYU Langone, and the University of Southampton published a landmark study. They analyzed brain activity from over 500 dying patients using high-resolution EEG, and they found something that shook the neuroscience community. The surge of activity didn't just happen anywhere. It happened in the exact brain regions responsible for dreaming, out-of-body experiences, and the perception of light. The posterior cortical hot zone, the same area that lights up when you feel like you're floating above your own body. The same area that activates when you see a tunnel of light. The same area that creates the experience of being somewhere beyond your physical body. The dying brain isn't shutting down, it's constructing, building, creating one last experience from the raw materials of a lifetime of consciousness. You see it now. The light, not blinding, not harsh, not white in the way you'd expect. Warm, golden, like the first morning you can remember. Like sunlight through curtains in a room where you felt absolutely safe. You're moving toward it, not walking, drifting, weightless. And you feel this strange certainty that what's on the other side is familiar, not foreign, not frightening, like arriving at a place you forgot you'd been, like hearing a song you haven't heard in 40 years and knowing every single word. Here's what science can tell you. And here's where it stops. The gamma waves eventually slow. The chemical cascade fades, neural activity drops. Not suddenly, but gradually. Like a tide going out, like the last note of a symphony fading into the concert hall. EEG goes flat, and from the outside, from the world of monitors and machines and clipboards and fluorescent lights, this is the end. But from the inside, no one has ever come back from those final moments to tell us what happens next. Every religion, every culture, every civilization that has ever existed has a story about what's on the other side. And maybe, just maybe, the reason they all tell such similar stories is that they all pass through the same neurochemical doorway, the same 7-minute window, the same flood of light and memory and peace. What we know is this: dying is not what you think it is. It is not a switch turning off. It is not darkness claiming you. It is the most complex, vivid, neurochemically rich experience your brain will ever produce. It is your brain's final act, and it spends every last drop of energy, every last molecule of every last chemical, making you feel something real, something true, something that, for those 7 minutes, might be the most alive you've ever felt. Your brain doesn't go quietly. It throws you the most extraordinary show it's ever produced, the magnum opus, the encore, the finale, and then silence. But even that silence, if the science is right, might feel like forever.